Welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified Doctor of Naturopathy, Dr. Stephen Cabral, shares with you exactly how you can reverse aging, take back your health, and live a life full of energy and passion, with new 20-minute episodes every single day to keep you healthy and engaged. Now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the show. We're here today on our Total Wellness Tuesday episode of the week. We're going to be going over the 21-day Daniel fast. There is a 10-day version, so if you're looking for the shorter version, you are welcome to do this. I'll give you a bunch of different options that you can use here today. But this is an interesting one because I've studied fasting for a long time, since the 1990s. And the way that I studied it was simply based on how to reduce inflammation in the body and also for body transformation for a lot of the clients I was working in. Then by about the year, let's say 2008, 2009, I started using it more for autoimmune issues, more for cancer prevention, let's say. But let's take a step back and have to give you my disclaimer. Not here to provide any medical advice, medical treatment plans, medical diagnosis, or medical cures on the podcast. You know that, but I have to say that. And what I wanted to share here today, though, is that I do believe that this level of fast is one of the healthiest things you can do. Now, inside of my practice, full disclosure, we do quarterly functional medicine detoxes. We feel that it is the absolute best thing that you can do for the human body, like without a doubt. But there are deeper levels to fasting, which I'm going to be getting to this fall. It's not for everyone, and to be honest with you, I don't necessarily think that everyone should do it, especially out of the gates. It is my belief that everyone should do a 21-day functional medicine detox with all of the support that comes along with it for your liver for phase 1 and phase 2 detox, as well as bile release and kidney support. But after that, there are deeper levels of water fasting and other types of fast that I will share with you this fall. It has been 10 years since I've embarked on a longer, deeper fast. I've been using my functional medicine detoxes, no doubt about it, but I believe that there is real merit to doing a longer water-based fast. Again, it should be done for most people under medical supervision in the fall. I'll talk more about it as I go through it myself. There are places that you can go to do this. And again, it's not for everyone. It is not, especially right out of the gates, the best thing for everyone, since you're not going to feel well at all. There should probably be a period of time doing something like the Daniel fast that I'm going to talk about today, where it's a gentler form of fasting that you can then move into more of even the biblical ones that are talked about as well today. Why do I call it biblical-based fasting? Because this fast is actually from the Bible. And I learned about this specifically. And again, just for everyone out there, I'm a very spiritual individual. I don't necessarily associate with a particular religion. I grew up with a particular religion, but I respect all of them. I really do. And I believe that there's a lot of merit to many of the good books. I really do. And so what I want to share with you, although I've read the Bible myself many times, especially growing up, since that was the specific denomination that I was a part of, what I want to share is the health-based perspective of it. So you're not coming to this podcast for most likely your spirituality or your religious-based beliefs. I want to share, though, some of the deeper lessons that I think can be gleaned from this and that have been passed down from Ayurvedic-based medicine to TCM and then all the way through the, of course, traditional naturopaths. And so the one we're going to talk about today is the Daniel fast. The Daniel fast is specifically based on, again, I've talked about this before, the Bible, but it's in two different passages. And I'm going to share this with you, and I always want to give credit where credit's due. I actually learned about this. I don't know how someone sent it to me, but Dr. Josh Axe. I met Dr. Axe once. Great guy. He walks the talk. There's no doubt about that. And so, again, I always like to promote good people. And so if you know Dr. Axe, feel free to share this with him. But I saw that he spoke about this, and I know Dr. Axe is a very religious individual. And he talked about it in two places. So basically, Daniel 1:12 states, "Please test your servants for 10 days and let them give us vegetable pulses to eat and water to drink." The second one was in Daniel 10:2-3, which says, "In those days I, Daniel, was mourning 3 full weeks. I ate no pleasant food, no meat or wine came into my mouth, nor did I anoint myself at all, till 3 whole weeks were fulfilled. And it goes a little bit deeper into it, and I'm going to take you now through what the Daniel fast is. I look at the Daniel fast as a simple food diet, much of which, again, we include our functional medicine detox is taken from functional medicine, so the best of state-of-the-art medicine, combined with Ayurvedic medicine, which is the oldest form of medicine in the world. So what you have is kind of old meeting the new. I believe it's the best of both worlds. The Daniel fast, though, requires you nothing except to look at food. And so really, again, what he talked about in terms of pulses was fruits, vegetables, beans, water. But I'm going to give you a little bit more caveats than that. So essentially, when we look at it, it was water, especially if we're talking about back in the day. We're looking at vegetables. This could be both fresh, raw, and or cooked. Many people, and I'm not saying you need to do this, especially if your digestion is not strong, try to do about 80% raw when they're doing more of a diet like this. But again, if you have bloating or gas or weak digestion, raw vegetables are going to be really difficult for your digestion. So they can literally be frozen. Try to buy organic if you can. I'll link up a podcast today. I'll link it up at stephencabral.com/2755. And that will be on the Dirty Dozen and Clean 15 from this year. So if you can't buy organic, okay, then search for the Clean 15. And again, fresh, frozen is okay. We just don't want canned, because canned oftentimes contains a lot of preservatives and the food is fairly old. Okay. So it's not always old. I shouldn't say that, but it can be, right? It's canned to preserve it. So we want to look at that. Now, in terms of fruit would be a great one to have raw, right? So not necessarily cooking your fruit or drying your fruit. Dried fruit is not as great as the natural. You can eat way more dried fruit than you can actually fruit that's about 90+% water. So fresh, cooked is okay, but again, try to get that fresh, raw in there. And frozen would be okay too, especially if you're making smoothies or items like that. Whenever possible, if you're dealing with hormonal issues, you're dealing with blood sugar issues, try to go with the lower glycemic berries. Even things like kiwis, tart green apples, those are fairly low glycemic as well. Another one that you can add in there is grapefruit. Really great when you're doing any type of, I'm going to put this in air quote, cleanse or detoxes. Okay. So again, try not to get any canned-based fruit. It might taste sweet. It might taste delicious. It pretty much is quite adulterated, and I don't necessarily know that I eat it. Also part of the Daniel fast, and then I'll take you through how to do it, would be whole grains. Okay, so we're talking about, let's say, wild rice. We're talking about oats, quinoa, millet, amaranth, buckwheat, and maybe even barley. I'd be careful with going for any types of breads and pastas and wheat-based products, just because you very well may be more sensitive to it. The wheat that we have, especially in the United States, is nothing like the wheat that was around 10,000 years ago. Well, let's not go 10,000 years ago, though wheat was around. Let's go 2,000 years ago, okay? So when we're looking at that, you'd want to find more of an ancient grain if you wanted to do that. You would look more for a spelt or a farro, or you'd look more like at even rye would be more of an ancient lower gluten, lower sticky based gelatinous or gliadin, high gliadin based grain, okay, which is the protein in wheat. So that's what you can look at too. And then you have beans and legumes. There's also one more category, beans and legumes. Could be chickpeas, could be hummus, could be, garbanzo beans is the same thing. Could be lentils, dal, black beans, etc. All of those are fine. And if they are canned in any way, make sure that there's only really one ingredient, which is like beans, and then try to soak them, try to clean them very well. And all of those are great. One of the ones that I'm really enjoying lately is the sprouted and organic garbanzo beans. Those are quite good to add to basically any meal. So those are going to be your protein. And then the last one is nuts and seeds. Sprouted are always best. Raw sprouted is absolutely the best, closest to nature. So that is the list. And really what you're looking at then is just a plant-based vegan diet. You might say, but meat is the most nutritious food in the world. Again, I've never denounced that or said that that isn't true. But it is nice for a period of time because people didn't have meat literally every single day. Like that's something that we need to think about, right? And the body can go through a period of fasting. And in the first place, why you want to fast is actually to be able to get into a deeper state of autophagy. Now, it's not going to happen to the same degree as you would with a functional medicine detox or a water fast, but it will to a greater degree when you're not eating animal-based products like dairy and meat and chicken, poultry, however you want to look at it. And the reason is that those items are far more anabolic. They're going to push mTOR, which is growth and anabolism, to a greater degree. Now, again, if this isn't part of your routine right now because you're a bodybuilder or you're in really hard training or you're an athlete, I get it. And I'm not saying this is the right thing for everyone. What I am saying is it might be for the right individual. And so I do a podcast a day to try to reach as many people as possible. But the Daniel fast, this biblical fast, is an easy, very gentle way to get into not necessarily what would be considered a fast, although I'm going to add some of this to it. It's a fast from a lot of the products that the average American or Westerner eats, and that is meat and poultry. So let's just go with chicken and turkey, and not too many people eat duck, but red meat, with pork, with eggs, with dairy products, with cheese. These are just very anabolic products. But you're also eliminating the fruit juices and pretty much all oils, except maybe something like a first pressed, cold pressed organic olive oil, right? And you can have a couple tablespoons with each whole food meal that you're having. But you're getting rid of everything processed. So basically all the other processed stuff that you might be eating in your diet right now. If it's a beverage that's an energy drink or anything like that, you're removing that. You can't have a cup of coffee. There would be no issue with that. And you can even do it with a natural nut milk without any of the preservatives or anything like that. But you're getting rid of the candy, the muffins, the pastries, anything processed. The ancient grains will be in their whole form, right? So if you want to do quinoa, great, or amaranth or millet, or those are all things can be in their ancient form. That's not an issue. It's going to have more fiber. It's going to be more challenging to digest, slower absorption in the bloodstream, less of a glucose spike. Okay, so now how do we, this is in of itself a fast. It's a fast from basically the rich foods of life. Like that's one way to look at it. And believe it or not, these have been shown then to be less anabolic, to raise then IGF-1 less, to get you into deeper levels of autophagy and AMPK, and to help potentially with breaking down weak mitochondria, potentially breaking down cancer cells, autoimmune-based issues, and much more. Now, the way that you can get more out of this is by incorporating a 12 to 16-hour overnight fast with it. And the earlier you start that fast in the day, the better. Most people now listen to the show know about an intermittent fast. We recommend most people in our practice end their dinner around 5 to 6 p.m. at night, ideally, and then they can start eating again then around 8 a.m. or so in the morning when their day starts. That's a good 14, 15-hour fast, which is plenty for most people. There is no magical number around 16. Literally none. It's radically different based on a person's bioindividuality. Some people wake up in the morning with low glucose levels. They've already been into a deeper level of autophagy than others. Some people, their blood sugar doesn't really come down overnight. Again, that's a unnatural rhythm of the body, but it doesn't matter then for that individual to do 16 versus the other person to do 13 hours. This is based on bioindividuality, not social media science, right? Like we really have to keep that into consideration because it's super important. And I want to make sure that we're always questioning our beliefs. I absolutely question my beliefs. I question real science. I question things I see on PubMed. I want to see multiple studies. I want to make sure it matches up with what they've said thousands of years ago in Ayurvedic medicine. And when everything comes together, I say, yeah, this is most likely true. Let's keep our mind open. But this right here, this is the sweet spot. That's the overlap, as I call it. Okay, so again, fasting, let's just say 6 p.m. at night, that's doable for most people, to 8 a.m. in the morning. All right, that's 14 hours. Like most people can do that. I understand not everybody. I get it. Totally understand. But then after that, we start to then incorporate this diet. And it's just 3 meals. Like it's literally 3 meals. So you can do a breakfast, a lunch, and dinner. I'm just giving you a sample, 8 a.m., 12 p.m. and then 5 p.m. That's it. Like those are your 3 meals. For breakfast, it might be your, let's say, fresh fruit and oatmeal. Again, I'm not saying that this has to be the ideal diet for you. You might exclude grains, totally fine. And then could be a smoothie at breakfast. And then at lunch, few cups of vegetables. You add in some chickpeas if you want, you're good to go. And then for dinner, you choose that what to be. It could be a big salad. It could be, let's just say a salad with hemp hearts on top, a little olive oil, diced carrots, put a ton of veggies in there, whatever you like, right? Whatever you're looking for. This will help with overall, again, health of the human body. It will help with weight loss. It won't help with weight gain for the most part. Understand that. I know that most people will lose weight following this particular diet, so you have to take that into consideration. But you can always go back. You can always go back to eating previous foods. But this right here is at least something to look at. The last caveat I'll add is this. Some people add Himalayan sea salt, rock salt, Celtic sea salt, Redmond's real salt, and I think that's based on the individual. For those people that drop a little bit in blood pressure, who get a little bit maybe lightheaded or dizzy when standing. Again, I'm not giving you any medical advice. That might be an individual who needs a little bit more sea salt, right? But if you're someone with hypertension, higher blood pressure, at least for a period of time, this high potassium diet may very well balance out some sodium chloride levels that would get the body back into balance. Again, I have a whole podcast on can you overdo salt? And I give you the equation, right? Again, these things are not so cut and dry. It's all based on bio-individuality. And so hopefully this was helpful. I'd love to be able to do a follow-up if that's of interest to you. Love to be able to answer any questions you have in the comments to the best of my ability. So just let me know. And again, if the show is helpful, feel free to share it with anyone you believe it could serve. Today's show will be over at stevencabral.com/2755, and I'll link up other pertinent shows that will help you with this topic too. Take care, everybody. Have an amazing day. Are you ready to heal yourself and then go on to heal others? If so, the Integrative Health Practitioner Institute can help you discover proven functional medicine protocols that blend the best of 7 different healing disciplines from around the world. I personally share with you the exact handouts and protocols I use in my private practice that enable people to get well, lose the weight, and live longer, stronger. I want to pass this information on to the next generation of health coaches, and that is exactly why I created IHP. We are the future of the health coaching industry, and the skills and knowledge you will learn will make you an in-demand certified health coach anywhere in the world. Although we have many medical professionals taking the IHP certifications, no experience is necessary, and half our members have no previous health certifications. At the Integrative Health Practitioner Institute, our motto is a health coach in every home. Our goal is that you take this knowledge and then share it with family, friends, loved ones, your community, or in a practice where you create a career you love and can be proud of. The global IHP community is filled with some of the most kind and caring people in the world, and we can't wait to welcome you into our world soon. For more information or to set up a discovery call with one of our IHP Health Coach graduates, simply head over to integrativehealthpractitioner.org.